Aia kahi kapuola o ka lā pi'iuka I ka lewa, kau I ka polu, kau I ka poli, kapu kapu o nā moku, Hawai'i. Welina mai, aloha mai kākou e nā liko lehua o Hawai'i. Welcome all here in the middle of the Pacific or the Paki Pika, or wherever you may be, mahalo nui. Thank you for being with us today as we honor the life of an incredible mana wahine, a fierce and vibrant woman that we call Kumu, K2, K square, Principessa, Dr. Kennedy, or Karen. My name is Jace Koholakula Saplan, and I am the Director of Choral Activities at the University of Hawaii, Director of Nāwai Chamber Choir, and the President of Hawaii ACDA. For many of us, Karen has been an unshakable kahua, or foundation in our lives, and we have been shaped by her insatiable talent of teaching through joy, of her courageous music making, and her unshakable leadership. Her time in Hawaii molded a generation of music educators, rooted a love of choral singing, and fostered a kuleana, a responsibility within so many of us to treasure our path as choral conductors, choral educators, and singers in honoring our commitment to step into excellence every day, to be a model of integrity for our hamana, our students and singers every single moment, and to always leave room for joy, for laughter, as they are crucial tools to unlock inspiration both in and outside of the choral rehearsal. She was a trailblazer in our islands, and today we honor her through mele or song, mo'olelo or stories, and through pilina or connection. We start off by honoring her role as the Director of Choral Activities at the University of Hawaii. Here to offer his thoughts and to speak on her impact at UH is Professor Lawrence Paxton, Professor of Voice and Chair of the Music Department.
Aloha, everyone. If you don't already know who I am, my name is Lawrence Paxton, and I have the privilege of being the chair of the music department at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Today we are celebrating the life of Karen Kennedy, K2, K squared, as I knew her when she was here. And I would like to make clear her wonderful contribution she made to the choral program here at UHM during her tenure. When Karen first arrived in her new position as the Director of Choral Activities, she breathed a breath of fresh air into the choral program. She did this by choosing new, exciting, and diverse choral literature. She also recruited nonstop all over the campus and in the community to get her numbers up in her choirs. And quickly, she earned the respect and love of her students. She earned this by her infectious personality, her caring heart, and her wicked, wicked sense of humor. The quality of her concerts were just as high as her ability to recruit. She actually created an audience for the UHM choral program. This was tremendously exciting. They were very loyal fans of the choral program. Of course, this made the students want to work harder, so the quality kept going up and up and up. Then we saw a new trend. Students wanting to major in music education - choral track. They all wanted to be Karen Kennedy. She was their inspiration, and it was a joy to see these young people develop under her leadership. As a colleague, She was so much fun, especially at faculty meetings. I used to sit with her in the back row, and I thought sometimes the chair would ask us to leave because we were having too much fun in the back of the faculty meeting. I think about this today as I have been chair, and I try to recreate that in my faculty meetings. Thank you, Karen, because I think a little bit of humor can go a long way in these very long meetings. And I remember her often, and I think about her when I'm trying to emulate that. You know, if I may say something personal, Karen Kennedy wanted to conduct Carmina Burana with, at that time it was the Honolulu Symphony, with the Symphony Chorale. And she asked me to sing the Dying Swan part. Now, I had sung that part 2 times before on the mainland, so I was just going to recreate what I had done those 2 times. And if you know the Dying Swan, it's very difficult, but you wait forever and then you have to sing it. And then you sit down and you wait forever to leave. So I get up and I like to play with the chorus a little bit in the interludes between the 3 verses that the tenor has to sing. But on the very last verse, I like to turn from the chorus very slowly, and I like to stare with my eyes at the conductor for help, because I'm burning, right? Dying swan. And I look for help, and nothing comes, and then I turn back out to the audience and sing the final verse. Well, the other 2 conductors that I did, they were fine. They didn't look at me. They didn't do anything. But not Karen Kennedy. And she didn't tell me she was going to do this. So the night of the opening, because I believe a Friday night, I did that, my little shtick routine for the Dying Swan, and I turned and I looked at her with these big eyes, and she changed her stick from her right hand to her left hand. And she turned to me and went like this, psst, psst, like that, and then looked at the audience in disdain about this. It was so funny. So in the review, in the paper, they got a terrific review. Choir sounded good, soloists were wonderful, and then at the very end it goes, and Maestro Kennedy's reaction to the Dying Swan was precious. So therefore, every time I saw her, I go, oh great, you get the last line of the review because you were precious. I can't tell you enough what Karen Kennedy has done for the UH music program, the choral program, and to all the faculty that worked with her. She was a true professional, a true person. And I used to love it when we were out and she'd say, I'll see you back at the college, or I'll see you back amongst the students, or I'll see you back. It was always, I won't see you at home, I'll see you back on campus. Karen has influenced many people. I would be so lucky if when I exit UH, I would have such a reputation.
Mahalo nui, Larry. Karen was often referred to as the Principessa by local community choral director Auntie Nola Nahulu, artistic director of the Hawaii Youth Opera Chorus, and past Hawaii ACDA president. Though Principessa be but a nickname, to me, as an observer, it speaks to how integral wahine are in shaping Hawaii's choral legacy. Our choral mo'oku'auhau here in Hawaii. Women like Dorothy Kahananui Gillette, Susie McCreary Dupree, Queen Liliuokalani, Kalani, Auntie Debbie Kelsey, Auntie Kalua, Auntie Nola Nahulu, and of course, Dr. Karen Kennedy, who have done so much to ensure that our art form thrives here in Hawaii. We now hear from Auntie Nola, who will speak on her pilina with Dr. Kennedy.
Aloha mai kākou. We're all gathered here today to celebrate the life of our Principessa. And yes, I am wearing a tiara in her excellence. For those of you who don't know, we had special names for each other, and for me, she was the Principessa. To some of us, we were colleagues. To others of us, she was a mentor. But we all knew her well. If not, we wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be celebrating her life. I want to say, first of all, mahalo to Michael Bartels. He was her first GA. He welcomed her here to Hawaii and started her on her journey of aloha and embracing her aloha. Some of us got to know her right away because we were involved in more than the collegiate things. She was willing to come and work with our students, whether it was in different schools or for us, the Hawaii Youth Opera Chorus. She would come sit in the basement of Kwahao Church and hang out with the kids and also work with them. And for others of us colleagues at the university level and community level. And as colleagues, you know, if somebody says, hey, can you cover my rehearsal? Can you be an interim for me? Symphony chorus until they find a new one? You say yes, because you felt comfortable enough. And I think we all know the excellence and the joy she had in making music and singing together. I will tell you a short story real fast. Aromatherapy. She learned about that, her first concert at Orvis, when she was gifted leis, especially Pikake leis. And she realized when she came out, that's what you're talking about. It's wearing a lei is not a burden. The aroma actually calms you and makes you focus on your music and excels your music. So she fully understood aromatherapy and she embraced it. So to our Karen Kennedy, K for Kokua, always with everyone. And Kennedy K for Kulie Kanu'u, always striving for her best. We wish her aloha, aloha pau'ole.
Wahine Ilikea, a mele by Dennis Kamakahi, was one of Karen's favorite mele, or favorite songs. I learned this factoid while I was at the University of Miami under her mentorship. It was a stressful day for both of us preparing for an event we held every year, and for those of our Miami Ohana, Winter Wonderful and holiday dinner. During that time, I was also going through a period of homesickness for Hawaii. She handed me an ukulele, and she stepped behind the piano, called out a key, G major, obviously, and said, "Do you know the Mele Wahine Ilikea? It is my favorite song. Call out the chords and help me remember it." That started a tradition between the two of us. When things were stressful, we would pull out a mele and kanikapila, or jam, or sing together. Looking back on this, the text of the piece is so fitting. On face value, Wahine Ilikea may honor the island of Molokai, but if we were to look between the lines, the text can also honor the strength and gracious spirit of a woman. So, kanikapila kako, let's sing together and join us as members of Navai Chamber Choir sing one of Karen's favorite mele, Wahine Ilikea. While Director of Choral Activities at the University of Hawaii, Karen also gave so much to the choral community at large through her time as the conductor of the Oahu Choral Society, where she prepared singers for choral orchestral works and paved the way for innovation, such as connecting Baroque classics with hula in collaborations with esteemed kumuhula or master hula teachers. Through her incredible artistic efforts, she created a vibrant choral community at OCS. We honor this contribution with former board member of OCS, Auntie Valerie Osipoff. Sorry, Auntie Val, could you unmute yourself one more time and start from the beginning?
There.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. Yes, I was board member. I was board president. I was honored to be an associate of Karen Kennedy's, and we became friends. I was asked to go over what we actually, our programs had been for the time that she was there. She came to us in 2002. We did Peer Gynt, we did Holiday Pops, we did Midsummer Night's Dream, we did the Brahms Requiem, the Duraflor Requiem. Then we went to Carnegie Hall, which was just magic, and did Mozart Vespers. In 2004, we did the Creation, and it was one of those wonderful moments when there was pouring rain and there was a leak in Blaisdell, and the water was gushing down when the heavens opened up, and it was a memorable moment for all of us. We did Handel's Messiah. We participated in an international choral festival. We did Alexander Nevsky by Prokofiev. We did Christmas with the Casimeros. And sadly, the very last thing we did together before Karen left Oahu was Mozart's Requiem. Karen and I remained friends and emailed and texted and had all kinds of fun. She stayed at my house a couple of times. But the thing that is, to me, in some ways, Karen is still here because she has brought Jace and Alex to Hawaii, her PhD doctoral students, who are carrying forth the energy and the love and the respect that Karen shared with all of us. Recently, I was singing with Alex's we're doing well. It was so close to great. It was never perfect. I went up to Alex afterwards and I said, I haven't heard that in way too long. And he looked at me, both of us had tears in our eyes, and he said, Karen, I can't tell you how much I do.
Mahalo nui, Auntie Val. As we all know, Karen's reach and scope within the choral community was international. Yes, as a result of her musical talents, but through her ability to connect with people. She was a model for holding, growing, and nurturing her friendships, and showed us that perhaps outside of talent, one of the most important aspects within our lives as music makers is one's dedication to one's upema, or net, of friendship. We welcome Dr. Joshua Haberman, Artistic Director of the Santa Fe Desert Chorale and a dear friend to Dr. Karen Kennedy. Aloha, Josh.
Aloha, Jace. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be together with your community today. A few remembrances. When I first met Karen, like everybody, I was taken with the energy and the spirit that she brought to everything that she did. I walked in on a rehearsal of the Oahu Choral Society, singing Mozart's C minor Mass. She was recently married and she had lei pretty much piled up to the ceiling. And she still appeared over the top and led that rehearsal with so much joy and so much energy. I watched her with the UH choirs and in countless workshops here, there, and everywhere. And I was amazed with her ability to joyfully engage with whoever was in front of her, and with her spontaneity and her ability to roll with almost any circumstance. And she saw them all. She did so many choral workshops, many of them together with me. And she never failed to simply see the humans who were in front of her and engage them in whatever way that she could to raise them up and to bring them to a higher level of performance in a joyful way. Over the years, we did choral events together and we got to know each other better, and I got to see a different side of Karen, a richer side and perhaps a quieter side than the one that so many of us saw in those choral workshops. I saw that thoughtful, self-aware musician who was also a scholar and who was so willing to hold up and lift up colleagues and in particular students, and to serve as a mentor for so many generations, including many people who are on this call today. What she sought always was never to create clones of herself. She was too wise for that. Rather, she sought out in each of those students the best of themselves and sought to bring that to the fore and help them become who they were meant to be. To the world, Karen was a teacher and a guide. To me, she was simply a friend. Somebody that I could turn to and talk to about anything, and whose opinion I trusted. When I was in my first year in a difficult situation in a new job, Karen was my first call. And I said, Karen, can you come down here and just spend some time with me and observe and see how things are working and tell me how to fix it? And she came in a heartbeat. When we talked, I had the feeling that I was heard and I was seen as I am. And that is a rare and very precious thing. Over almost 20 years of friendship, we shared as many choral festivals as we could fit in. And there came a time when we had so much fun doing them together that we told the promoters that we simply refused to do them unless the other was there. I remember one in particular when we were somewhere in New York and working away with the choirs that perhaps didn't know the music quite as well as we had hoped. And we would tag team. And I said, I think I can do 15 minutes if you can do 15 minutes. And at every 15-minute interval, I would say, you know who can solve this problem better than I can? Dr. Karen Kennedy. And Karen would come bounding up and I'd kind of world wrestling tag her on the way in and say, you're in. And she would do her magic for 15 minutes and then say, you know, I think Josh has a solution for this. And we got through that. And that and so many festivals and events like it showed me her humanity and showed me her extraordinary talent, but more than anything, her kindness. And as so many have pointed out, her wicked sense of humor. She was a teacher and a guide and a very dear friend who I will miss. Thank you.
Mahalo nui, Josh. We now take a moment to sit in reflection for the incredible life of Kumu and the incredible musical moments that she has led us to. Here is Susan Labar's setting of Angele Dei, known as a prayer to one's guardian angel, which translates to, Angel of God, my guardian dear, to whom his love commits me here. Ever this day be at my side, to light and guard, to rule and guide. Enjoy Angele Dei, sung by the University of Miami Frost Chorale, conducted by Dr. Karen Kennedy. Karen's impact on her students and singers is infinite. She helped shape the skill sets and philosophies of countless K-5 general music teachers, 6th through 12th grade choral educators, community choir directors, university professors of choral music, and those who walk with choral music as a treasured avocation that transforms their lives. We hear now from one of the jewels in her crown of Haumana, Dr. Alex Schumacher, Director of Choral Activities at Hawaii Pacific University, past president and current vice president of Hawaii ACDA.
Karen, we're going to miss you very dearly. I was a master's student the first time that I was fortunate enough to meet Karen Kennedy. She visited the University of Miami, where I went. She was a guest clinician. And I'll never forget her first classroom presentation to the graduate students. Up until that point, most people who came to give guest lectures to graduate students in choral conducting tended to talk about really esoteric things, like Spanish choral music from 1548, August, or something like that. And Karen's talk was how to read a job listing. It had fictional job postings that she made up from fake prestigious institutions like East Cupcake University, whose posting sought a dynamic educator who yada, 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 and all of these things that Karen herself just made up. Karen's talk was so much more useful to me as a master's student, soon to launch into the real world, than any of those other ones. And her talk that day was probably a lot like she was. It was immensely practical, hilarious, authentic, and genuinely helpful. Karen is one of the most kind, warm, generous, and skilled conductors and humans I've ever had the privilege of working with. Most teachers have students, but Karen has disciples. She taught here for many years, and even the mere mention of her name, fully a decade after she left, sparks joy in former singers, students, and community members alike. The passion that she inspires in all is almost unmatched in our profession. When I was teaching middle school and high school choir, she graciously, while she was on Oahu, came to visit my beginning level 7th grade choir. This is a task that is like so far beneath her skill set that it's laughable, and yet right away she had those kids laughing, she had those kids engaged, and she had them in the palm of her hand. We did an evaluation of like our experience with her, and I asked the students to do a reflection about it the next day. And one of the students said, "Can Dr. Kennedy come back tomorrow?" Ever so hopeful, maybe to be rid of me, but mostly to have Karen back. And I had to respond to the student. I said, "Well, no, she lives in Florida." This was my feeble response. I wish she could have come back the next day too, just as I wish she could be here now and each day after that. Karen inspired joy and a passion for music in every singer, student, conductor she worked with. She was a star in the truest sense. She was bright. She was full of luminosity. She illuminated difficult topics with ease and grace and hope. She was capable of warming even the coldest days and souls with her humor and compassion. And I'm blessed to have been in her orbit, as we all have been. Karen, I'm going to miss you dearly, and you are beloved with much aloha.
Mahalo, Alec. As we close, I extend a profound leo mahalo, a thankful voice to our speakers, to Hawaii ACDA and UH's music department for making this day possible, to our Hawaii ACDA Secretary, Sarah Young, for serving as our memorial service stage manager, and to Dr. Corin Overland and all of Karen's ohana tuning in. Mahalo piha kākou. There is an olelo no'eo, or native proverb that states, "I ka wā mamua, ka wā mahope." The future is found in the past. As we move forward, this no'eo is a reminder that, like Makali'i, the Pleiades, Karen is always with us, and her wisdom is always guiding us. During hard days, I sit with my memories, remembering the days in her office where she would share guidance before we kanikapila. During the good days, I remember the moments of laughter that she brought both in and out of her rehearsal. Our time with her does not remain stagnant. It remains as a compass that provides the mana'o to move forward, in which all of our students and singers and their students and singers can benefit from. That is her legacy of choosing joy every day, of showing up for every singer rooted in excellence, and holding each connection with care is the legacy that we are responsible for. Please join us for our final mele, Until We Meet Again, a medley that interweaves Queen Liliuokalani's compositions of the Queen's Jubilee and Aloha Oe, arranged by UH alumni and Haumana of Karen, Justin Kaupu, sung by the University of Hawaii choirs. as is the tradition here in Hawaii, please join us in singing Hawaii Aloha. E Hawaii e ku'one hanau e ku'uhome kulahiwi nei Oli noa i na pono lani o E Hawaii aloha E haoli e na opi o Hawaii nei Oli Mai ngā he makani e pā mai nei Mau ke aloha no Hawaii E haoli e nā opi o Hawaii nei Oli Mai ngā he makani e pā mai nei Mau ke aloha no Hawaii Mau ke aloha no Hawaii Mahalo nui piha. Mahalo piha ya kākou for sharing space with us and holding space with us this afternoon. We wish you joy, we wish you peace, and we wish you aloha. Take care. Ahui ho kākou.